What's going on, guys? It's PokePond back with another video for you. We got lots to talk about today. We can now see all of Surging Sparks, see what that's going to look like. I'm going to give you my opinion on whether I would invest in it. And then as always, we're going to have a look at Sword and Shield. The market's going crazy again. Let's do some analysis. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, let's get straight into it. So we got lots to talk about today. As always, when has there ever been a quiet week in the Pokemon market? You tell me, because I can't remember the last time the market didn't move as fast as it's going right now. So we can now see the full Surging Spark set list, and as promised I said that I would let you guys know when that's up and available, so you can check this out online. I'm briefly going to sort of go through it. The reason why we can see it is because it's a combination of two Japanese sets, and the second half of that has been revealed now, which is called Supercharged Breaker. So those two sets, Paradise Dragona and Supercharged Breaker, will come together to make our Surging Sparks, which gets a full UK release and English release even in 3 weeks time. So the actual release date is November the 8th for NA and EU. And we can see all of the cards now, so we've seen most of these already. I'm just going to skim through. Like I said, you can view these set lists online. Just wanted to point out a few things for you. So we've got all of the illustration rares here, and we've seen most of these already. These are all of the full arts to be confirmed. Really like the Pikachu here. That's a really nice takeaway card, but there's lots of nice cards in this set. Full art supporters, special illustration rare Pokemon. These are obviously going to be your main chase cards. Obviously we've got the Pikachu, which is stunning. That's going to be a very high value card, I think. And the Latios, or Latios, I forget which one is the red one. It's also a very high value card. And these are your other SIRs as well, which all have potential to be very high valued cards as well, depending on how hard they are to pull. And then you've also got a couple of special illustration rare supporters as well, which tend to not do as well on the English side of things, but tend to do better in the Japanese sets. I'm not really sure why. But yeah, it's one of those sets, Surging Sparks, that I think is going to be a creeper. So I think it's going to do okay, moderate to okay on release, and then slowly over time, over sort of like as it goes out of print about 2 years later, it's really going to start ramping up in price. I would say it's one of the top sets so far from the Scarlet and Violet block. The problem is we're just comparing everything to Sword and Shield right now. That it's already sort of, they call it the sunset window, so it's already sort of gone out of print. So we're now already looking back on it with a bit of FOMO. Whereas these cards, I really do think there's not going to be as much hype as you think on release, and you'll be able to pick these up still well below retail for the sealed booster box. But it's a long-term play, this set. I don't think it's a bad set, and I think it will do all right long-term. Alright, let's get into Sword and Shield then. We're no messing about today. Let's go straight into Evolving Skies. Evolving Skies is starting to uptick in price again. We've sort of called it out over the last couple of weeks, and we're really starting to see that now starting to reflect in the US markets. We saw a bit of a pump in the last couple of weeks in the UK markets, and I said the US markets are going to follow soon, and we're starting to see that now. If we go onto the 1 month chart, you can really start to see the impact of this starting to pump now. So over the last week, let's see, a week ago was about there. Average price was about 696, basically 700 a box. And then the figures are a bit thrown off because of some of these sales with photos going for 750. But last two sales are 700, so about the same. But there are a few sales that stand out, like this one for 750, this one for 750. So it's hopping around. There's a bit of play. There's a little bit of a swing. There's a few percent either way. But yeah, even if you take like the highest 750 and you average it to the last sale, so 700, we're talking about a real average of around about 725. And if it was going for around about 700 a box beforehand, sorry about the sirens. I live in a crazy city that has so much crime. So yeah, so around about a 25 dollar price rise over the last week on average, and that's being generous. I mean, some sales were going for $50 higher, so 25 divided by 700 times 100, you're seeing around about at least a 3.5% price rise in the US markets over the last sort of 7 days, and realistically some of those sales are right up to a 7% price rise. So there's a bit of swing in the price, and that's always quite a good sign when things are about to pump. So do keep an eye on this, because we'll be tracking it every week as always. So you don't have to track it, you can just tune in each week, same time every week, and we'll keep you up to date on what's going on with Evolving Skies. I do think it's still a buy at this price as well. I just want to zoom out a bit as well. So if you see here, I mean, if you zoom right out, it's basically at an all-time high, Evolving Skies, and it's really not dipped in price since, let's see, March of this year. So it's had a real solid stage of price consolidation, and I really am calling that it's not just Evolving Skies specifically, but not just Evolving Skies. I think all of Pokemon, and especially all of Sword and Shield for sealed product, is going to have a fantastic year in 2025. I really do think that everything's set to and is about to explode. Hype is starting to build in the market, and we're right at the bottom of the market right now. Although things are at an all-time high, the actual like hype cycle of Pokemon, it goes in cycles with sealed product. We're right at the bottom. Like, there's really not that much hype in the market, and it's only going to take like it's almost like a snowball effect. I see it happen about every 4 years in Pokemon, and we're at that stage again where things are about to start to snowball, and then we'll have a really good sort of 12 to 24 months of Pokemon hype, and it really start to shoot up in price. I think that's really going to hit around about December, January time. I may be a little bit off with my timings, but that's my prediction. I just see it time and time again. I've been in this sealed market space for so long now, I can just see the trends coming. If you don't believe me, we've got nearly a year's worth of videos now on the channel. Just go back, have a look at some of my older videos, the predictions I was making 6 months ago, 12 months ago, and just look, because pretty much everything I said has come true so far. So you use that to make your own decisions though, don't just rely on everything that I say. Right, let's have a look then. UK market, we've seen a little bit of a reduction in price, which is good. So it was up to around about the £800 mark the last couple of weeks, which was crazy. It was a crazy jump from like 700 to 800, which wasn't sustainable. Now we're seeing a bit of that retrace in price to around about 750, which is actually still, if you zoom out over the last couple of weeks, still a massive gain of around about 5%. If over the last month or so. So that's really good. It wasn't sustainable, the fact that it went up like 10% in a week or something, so it's settled back down a bit now, and we've averaged out over the last month at around about a 5% gain, which is healthy. I do think it's still going to pop. Prices are swinging so much, so I just really wanted to point this out to you. So the last 2 sales on UK eBay, look at this, someone got a nice deal at 700, 713 all in, and then on the same day someone bought one for 850. So just look at the range in price on the same day as well. It's not auctions either, because auctions can spike and go different depending on demand. 2 buy it nows same day. So someone got a crazy deal on this 700, and I think someone overpaid a bit on this 850. But yeah, so what's the range on that? So what, 150 basically, once you allot for postage divided by 700 times 100. So there's a 21.4% price swing on the same day, which is absolutely nuts. And if that worries you as an investor, then don't. It's fine. This price is too expensive. This price is too low. We're looking at somewhere in the middle now. 750, like I said, that averages out. You've got to take the averages of these things. That is around about a 5 to 6% price rise over the last month. And this is what I'm saying to you guys. Even though Evolving Skies is at an all-time high, it's gonna have a really good year. I really do see it happening. We could see some crazy numbers. I mean, off the top of my head, I could make some predictions, 20%, 30% over the year. But honestly, with Evolving Skies, it just always outperforms my predictions. Evolving Skies is just one of those sets that you can't pin down because it is just known and widely accepted in the Pokemon hobby as the best set of Sword and Shield, and potentially of all of the blocks around it as well, from like Sun and Moon, and from what we've seen of Scarlet and Violet as well. I do put Evolving Skies up there as the #1 set. It is tricky to compare it to Sun and Moon because Sun and Moon have some really like nice like tag team sets. Those tag team GX card sets do go hard, and their prices are pretty crazy on some of them. Some of them are going way over 2,000 a box now, and I do see Evolving Skies getting up to that stage as well. It just hasn't been around there for enough of that time. I think Evolving Skies could be a record-setting box actually, and be the first sort of modern box to really hit closer to that 5k plus range in a couple of years. But we'll just have to wait to see. Let's have a look at last sales then. Someone got a crazy deal in the US, right? So I wanted to show that the US market is a bit all over the place as well. However, I feel like the US market, you can still pick up a lot more crazy bargains. Last sale on US eBay is $600 for a nice sealed one. Now, I haven't checked the listing properly. It may be that there's rips or tears in it, but that just seemed crazy cheap to me. And then we looked through a few others. Best offer accepted, $700. With an acrylic case, that seems pretty cheap. $675. Like, I'm telling you guys, these are discounts, and like this in a year's time, if you look back in 12 months and say you're going to kick yourself for not picking up more of these for $675, I'm telling you. I mean, in a year's time, who knows what it's going to be like, but I would be comfortable in saying it's going to be, I'm 99% sure it's going to be more than $800 a box 12 months from now. And I think that's pretty safe to say, and I think a lot of people will agree with me. So it just seems a bit of a no-brainer to me, and it could easily be worth a lot more than that. By the end of next year, we could be seeing $1,000 a box. We just don't know. It depends on supply and demand. Right, back to UK eBay. I know I hop around a lot, but if you're a US viewer, like, don't worry when I go into the details of the UK market. Like, I also do talk a lot about the US market, and I can compare the two. I'm obviously based in the UK, which is why I do more of a UK analysis, just because that's where my expertise lie. But you can also learn a lot from seeing trends over here to trends over there. I've heard other sort of US Pokemon sealed investors say that you shouldn't listen to people doing that, and that you can't compare them because they're two completely different markets. And I agree with them. They are two completely different markets with different supply chains and different demand chains. But believe me, as someone who does a deep dive on both markets week in, week out, it happens time and time again where something will happen over here, then it will happen in the US, or something will happen in the US and it will happen there. I call it time and time again. Go back, look through the videos, you'll see it. The proof's there. I'm held completely accountable because everything I say is on record. So go back and have a look. 9 times out of 10, I do seem to predict it right. Right, let's have a look then. So we've been talking a lot about Elite Trainer boxes over the last few weeks because people are starting to get priced out of the booster boxes, and I've really said to people that Elite Trainer boxes aren't going to be the next big play for Evolving Skies because not everyone's going to be able to afford a sealed booster box, and it is a really nice product to display. They look really cool. And you generally get quite good hits out of Elite Trainer boxes. You're not guaranteed the hits, you're never guaranteed hits, but you're more guaranteed to get a nice hit from a booster box. But Elite Trainer boxes, honestly, I get crazy luck from Elite Trainer boxes. I think they're really good. It's just luck of the draw, though. Sometimes you get nothing. Sometimes you get an Elite Trainer box that's absolutely stacked with hits. It's just how it goes. So let's have a look then. They've been creeping up in price a lot. So cheapest you can get on eBay right now is $162 for both variations, and I actually think that's a really good price considering what the market's doing right now. So 162 divided by 8 booster packs you get in there, 20 a pack. And honestly, I think Evolving Skies is worth 20 a pack all day long, especially in like a nice displayable sealed product. I don't think that's a bad price. And look, if we go on last sold, so look, 162 for the Vaporeon Sylveon variant. Last sales, this is just a few days ago, 200. So you're getting a 40 quid discount by getting this one. 35, 40 quid, which is, let's see, 30, 34, 20% discount on getting, pretty much dead on a 20% discount on what last sale was from pretty recently. So the price is a little bit all over the place. That is because the people who bought in cheaper into these Elite Trainer boxes and have sat on them for a year or two are starting to dump them now to take profit. Once all of those people and the weak hands are out of the market, this will be the price. It will be 200 a box all day long. So the fact that you can pick them up now for 162, not everyone's looking at these right now. Like, people are sleeping on these Elite Trainer boxes. They are a really good opportunity and they're a lower price point to get in. You got to remember as well, 162 is around about what the booster box was in price on release. I mean, it was about 140, but you struggled to get them, so everyone was paying about 160, 170 on the booster box for a good while after release. So it's kind of crazy to see now that we've just fully accepted that the booster box price is fine for an Elite Trainer box now. In fact, more than what the booster box retailed for is fine for an Elite Trainer box. And it's funny how perceptions change, because that 6 months ago would have seemed really expensive, and now in my eyes that actually looks quite cheap, because in my head, and this is how the market goes as well, in my head everyone has their price for what they think things are worth, and like in my head this variant is worth £200 now. This one is a little bit cheaper, I'd say more 175 to 180, so this is sort of closer in price, but they look cheap to me. And look, I mean, you're seeing one here selling for 200. Let's just have a look at what's listed. So these are the people who are dumping them. So 162, then it jumps to 178, then it's 180, 185, 190. So within 10 sales, less than 10 sales, that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Within 8 sales, we're at 200 a box. If you're talking about that variant, it's literally 2 sales. And we're going from 160 to 200 a box as the cheapest. Yes, you'll get more people who come in and they'll put them up cheaper. They'll put them up for 175, 180 because they're dumping them. But those people don't last for long. Once those are bought out, those are bought out. And I tell you what, the people who are buying in for 160, 162, they're not going to sell it again for 175. They're going to hold it until it's 200, 250, 300. They're people like me who are just going to, well, me and you guys who are going to buy in. We're not going to buy in at 162 and then sell for 180. We're going to buy in at 162 and we're not going to sell it for any cheaper than 200. In fact, 200 seems way too cheap. Like, I'm going to wait until it's 300 a box, 400 a box. I might wait until the Elite Trainer box is £1,000 a box. Who knows? How many years am I going to have to wait for that? 10 years? 20 years? Who knows with Evolving Skies? Okay. Let's just have a quick look at the Umbreon then. So this is one of the main reasons why Evolving Skies is so expensive. It has the most insane card of the 3 eras, basically, of Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, and Scarlet and Violet. It has seen a little bit of a reduction in price, but it's still holding some crazy value. You're still seeing them regularly sell for around about the £1,000 range. In dollars, that's probably about $1,200. It's probably a little bit cheaper on the US markets just because you have less demand and more supply. So you've got more people cracking product, and there's less people who A, have the budget, and B, have the want to spend $1,000+ on this card. So it's yeah, look, here's some sales as well, even on an auction from last week, that it's going for well over 1,000. So this is a little bit of a discounted price, the 950. Someone just dumping that, taking a quick bit of profit. Maybe they bought in for 300, 400, 500, and now they're seeing that it's around about £1,000. They just pop it up, make a really nice healthy profit on that. Do I see this card dropping in the future? Not really. As the booster box goes up and up in price, I see this card just going up and up in price as well. I know we saw a little bit of a retrace in price over the last sort of 6 months or so on this card, but I really do think it's just going to continue to climb. There you go, more sirens going past. Always kicking off here, I tell you. Alright, let's talk about Fusion Strike then. So Fusion Strike, in my opinion, is the second best set in all of Sword and Shield. That's why I don't mess around with these videos. We go through the best sets first. Cheapest it's been for a long time in the US and has been since about September time. We've been calling that this is about basement price for Fusion Strike, unless we get a shock reprint, which I really don't think is going to happen because it's such an old set now. I don't think it's ever going to get cheaper than this, and the fact that it just stopped here and flatlined around about the $200 range just goes to show that the demand can meet the price when it hits $200 a box. When it's $200 a box, everyone just buys it out because they're like, that. Well, that's too cheap for what it is. Let's have a look at last sales then. 206, 215, 210, 221, 208. You're just never seeing it below 200 now. So that is just the accepted price in the US now for 200 a box at least. You can still pick it up for retail on the Pokemon Center UK for 143, or from the secondary markets for basically the same price, 150, if you're not comfortable buying from the Pokemon Center. The reasons why sometimes it's better to pay the premium and to buy from eBay is because you can actually see the exact product that you're going to get. Because we're sealed investors, we need the product to be absolutely minty, no rips or tears to the seal, because that's really going to hurt the price and the bottom line when you sell it further down the line. So sometimes it is worth paying an extra £5-6 to get a really nice minty one from a seller with a really good feedback rating. Did not mean to click on that, but okay. Lost Origin. Lost Origin is at a very interesting point now where it's starting to pump. And it's really healthy to see Lost Origin be one of the first sets to pump ahead of everyone else. Like I said, I think all of the Sword and Shield sets are going to start pumping over 2025 and over the last few months of this year, over the last 2 months of this year. It's really a positive sign to see Lost Origin be one of the first ones to move. So we saw a big discount in price of it around about just shy of that $200 a box range. Like I said, that $200 a box is that magic number for decent sets, where once it goes below 200 a box, everyone just buys it right out, because that's just accepted that that's way too cheap for this, especially with the Alt Art Giratina in this set. And over the last few weeks, since around about the end of September, we're just seeing the price creep up. And is that an all-time high actually? No, so we're super close. So we're averaging right now, let's have a look, 220 a box, and it was 222 a box in May. So we're pretty much right back up there at that all-time high price. It's really positive that we saw this dip here and it's just climbed straight back up. Let's have a look at last sales then. 225, 230, 230, 225, 220. So you can literally see it creep up. So like even in the last 2 days. So in the last 2 days, it's gone from 215 a box, 215 a box, 215 a box to now 225, 230, 230. I'm telling you guys, don't sleep on Lost Origin. The whole market's about to move. I can feel everything building up. I can feel the demand start to go. And I tell you what, it's a curve that goes like this. Once people start seeing prices go up, people go crazy, people start FOMOing in, and it just feeds and feeds and feeds into it. I see it time and time again. I've seen so many of these boom cycles in Pokemon. We're right at the beginning. I don't think it's really going to kick off properly until the start of next year, but now's the time to buy in, guys. Like, Lost Origin is basically at an all-time high already, and I don't see it getting any cheaper. In the UK right here, again, pretty much accepted at 200 a box now. 196, 199, 199, 205. Once some of these start selling out as well, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sales, and then it's at 210, and then 2 sales, and then it's at 215, and then 1 sale and it's at 220. Within 10 sales, we're at 220 a box. That's an extra 10% plus more than 10%. Let's have a look at last sales then. Look, 180. This is the time, guys. There's people dumping product. This guy, I know for a fact, is a scalper, because I've called him out on the channel before for charging way too much for postage, and I find it hilarious that he's dropped his postage now down to £3.39. People were mad at me because I called him out for charging like 10, 15, 20 pound postage on booster boxes. And they're like, oh, you know, maybe he's just packaging them well. No, look, because now he's selling them for $3.39. That's what postage should be. In fact, there's no excuse. I don't care if you're trying to play your taxes or anything, make free postage, okay? Like, you've got so much profit in the boxes if you bought sealed product. Unless you're a scalper and a flipper and you literally bought it last week for like £10 less, then I'm sorry. Like, if you're making $100+ profit on a box, do free postage. I don't care whether you've got to pay more tax on it or not. Do the right thing. Stop being greedy. Let's just make everything free postage. I just don't get it. I don't care. Some of you will disagree in the comments, but I really do think eBay will be a much friendlier place, and if we all just did free postage on everything and just eat the cost. Yeah, you've got to eat a little bit of extra tax as well, but just do it. Gosh. So yeah, the deals to be had is what my point was. This is easily going for 200 a box all day long, and sometimes people put them up. Look, 180 best offer. You just wanted that quick money, that quick flip. So keep your eye out, because there's getting less and less opportunities to snipe these sort of auctions. Let's talk about Astral Radiance then. Astral Radiance is pretty crazy, because Astral Radiance is still at retail in the US. You can buy it for retail, 164 in the US. Last sales, weirdly 180. There you go, 167 from a couple of days ago. It's set to bump as well. You're never going to get Astral Radiance for cheaper than retail. I don't know why people think that Astral Radiance is just going to suddenly drop off of a cliff. Like, why would a box that you can't get anymore, that's basically never going to get reprinted again, that's a decent Sword and Shield set for retail, out of print window, like, it just doesn't make sense to me why people aren't buying this. And in the US, you're actually limited as to what options you actually can afford to buy for retail, because there's not much available for retail. What does the US have available for retail right now? Just Silver Tempest, right? And you had a little bit of Vivid Voltage, which is not a great set, and you've got Battle Stars, which is not a great set. But the fact that you can pick up Astral Radiance on the secondary market for retail still is just a bit crazy for me. It's a good play. People are sleeping on it. The UK is even crazier. So the UK, you can pick it up below retail on eBay. 125 is nuts, because it retailed for what, 143, 146 or something like that. So you're still getting that. How much of a discount is that actually? So you're basically getting like 20 off. So 20 divided by 125 times 100, you're getting it like 16-17% off below retail when it's already out of print window. It's just crazy. And there's a lot of them on here as well. You could literally scoop up all of these and basically get a case for, probably it would average out if you bought 6 for more than 10% below retail. It's absolutely nuts. Now is the time to buy is what I'm trying to summarize with this video. Brilliant Stars, again, little bit under that 200, but I'm telling you, 200 is the agreed price for decent boxes, and I don't think it would be long until Brilliant Stars is in that range as well. Look, 185, 188, 180, 180, 183. It's regularly selling for around about the 180 mark, and I could easily see the US market over the next few months hit back into that $200 range and then just never drop below it. Let's have a look at its all-time high. So it's all-time high. So it went up to 194 average. If it's 194 average, then they would have been selling for over 200. And what's it at now? 182. So we're only, what, 194, 182. We're only $6 below its all-time high on Brilliant Stars. That's what I'm saying. And look at how many months of like price consolidation we had here. So let's see, from June to now, it's basically, once you zoom out, just never dipped in price. It's just held steady that's the agreed price, 180. Telling you guys, don't sleep on these sets. Brilliant Stars has that Chase Charizard card as well. I think we're going to see a revival of the alt art chasers and everyone wanting to buy those alt art chase cards. Let's have a look then. Brilliant Stars, you can still pick it up for retail. You can pick it up for from the Pokemon Center or from the secondary market. Like I said, sometimes it's better to buy from eBay because you can see, and yeah, basically the same as retail price as well, so why not? Silver Tempest then. So Silver Tempest is still available for retail in the US, and that's why you're seeing sales around about the 160 mark, because retail is 164, I believe. Yeah, 161, 169, 169. Again, once this goes out of stock, I think you're going to see a Brilliant Stars situation. You're going to see a Brilliant Stars situation where you had it go out of stock here from 160, and then it just shoot up to 200, and then drop back down to 180. I think the same thing's going to happen with Silver Tempest. So, I mean, you can still buy in for retail if you're in the US, and if you're in the UK, you can do the same as well. You can buy it from Pokemon Center for a 140 range, or you can get it even cheaper for a nice sealed box from people who are dumping it just because they don't have a strong enough hand to be able to hold it. It's crazy because some of these people, I feel bad for them, because some of these people would have bought this box probably for around about the same price, 130, 140, maybe even like 150, and they could have been holding it for up to 2 years, maybe more than 2 years, and now they're having to eat fees and sell it for a loss. And really, now is the worst time to sell. Like, if you've got to sell, I get it. If you've got family emergencies or you've got to pay for something financial in your life and you can't afford it, you really need the money, great, sell it, take the loss, take the money. But now I think is the worst time to sell any sealed product, just because I do feel like the market is about to pump and it's going to have a really good year in 2025. Just going to finish off by having a look at the Lugia. The Lugia alt art is the reason why Silver Tempest is such a nasty set. It's such a beautiful card. It's one of my favourite cards. And I do think it's so cheap right now. These are the last sales in the UK right now. This is a Korean one, so ignore that. That's going to be cheaper in other languages. But yeah, 270 on an auction, 295 on a buy it now, 300 on a buy it now. And quite a few getting sold. Again, I feel like people are just dumping these, taking the profit. I don't see it getting much cheaper. Like, yeah, you might see a little bit of a dip over the next couple of months, but if we zoom out and we look 2 years ahead, what's this card going to be worth in 2 years? I think it's going to be a lot more than 270. Do I recommend you invest in slabs and singles? No. If you want it in your collection for it being a collection piece, 100%. Do you want it as an investment? No. It's a lot more risky. You're much better off buying into sealed product. Sealed product is king. Generally goes up in price over time. You just have to be prepared to sit on it for a while, and sometimes you got to sit on it for longer than you expect, just to wait and get your price. Like I said, some of these people would have bought in for retail. They've been sat on it for 2 years and now they're selling it for a loss. But if they hang on to it for another year, what's the price going to be? I think it's going to be closer to the 200 range, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. I'm always going to track the prices so that you don't have to, and keep you up to date with all of the news. Have a wonderful day. Peace.